Welcome to our final, maybe, mock draft here as we hang out with you on the PHLY Sixers Podcast with Derek Bodner, Kyle Newbeck. I'm Devon Givens. Bree is producing as always. She's the president of basketball operations. A little bit of a twist with this one, with this being our final one, where we actually make the selections for the teams as based on the intel, what makes the most sense.
What we think they'll do, not what we would do.
Exactly, and that's how we're going to play this one out for this mock draft. So without further ado, let's just get to it right away and start off with pick number 1. What do we think Dallas
Unless they have
do?
suffered traumatic brain injuries, it's Cooper Flag.
I mean, that's not a guarantee, but yes.
Easy. Cooper Flag 1, and I think we probably all are consensus at number 2 as well.
Yeah. Even with all that stuff going on with Dylan Harper and the San Antonio Spurs, maybe somebody sneaks in there. Dylan Harper's going to the Spurs. So at pick number 3, Derek, Kyle, where are we going? Pick number 3 for the Philadelphia 76ers.
Frequently been said that this is where the draft starts. I'm not sure that's the case anymore. In fact, 3 and 4 seem like they are more and more coming into focus. Not a guarantee, but I think a strong lean to VJ Edgecombe here, so I think we'd probably all go VJ 3.
I think so. I think the combination of the athleticism, the defense, the second side attacking, the off-ball work that he can do, plus the background intel you get on him, plus the good interview and meetings he had with Philadelphia. At this point, I think he is the clear favorite if they stay at 3. I think we probably all agree, fellas, the only way, not the only way, but the main way they wouldn't end up with him is if they trade down. And we're not trading in this draft, so we're going VJ at 3.
We'll go VJ at 3. All right, let's move on to pick number 4 and go to the Charlotte Hornets. And what might the Charlotte Hornets do?
I think it's Khan.
I think I agree.
I think from what we've heard about the Hornets in this process, not only are they looking for a player fit, they're looking for, I don't want to say a culture guy. That's a little bit loaded, but somebody who's more of we need a real professional,
it's
a guy
fair.
who's about his business coming in here. LaMelo is talented, but he's a little bit of a live wire. I think Brandon Miller is good. Somebody in between those two that can play off ball, that's good in that complementary role, hard worker. That's kind of where my head is at based on what we've heard about Charlotte.
And if you think about OKC, who are now the NBA champions, a lot of the conversation is about their culture, we know, but also just about good people. Mm-hmm. So you're trying to change how things are viewed with the Charlotte Hornets, and within that organization, you're trying to go after good people. VJ Edgecombe name comes up a lot. Maybe the next best thing, especially when it comes to fit, also is Con Knipple right there with the Charlotte Hornets. All right, let's move on to pick number 5 with the Utah Jazz. New Ainge in the building.
There is.
What is
Ainge the younger.
Yeah.
No, it seems like there's a lot of smoke right now about Jeremiah Fears going here at 5. That would be, somebody I think we all had interest in early on in the process. Lost a lot after the Sixers ended up getting the 3rd pick. But somebody who I think fell maybe a little bit, not too far. It seemed like he was maybe more in that 8 to 10 range and has now moved back up. But it does seem like there was a lot of smoke around Fears, so I will say that is the pick.
I think it's either Fears or Trey Johnson, and I lean slightly toward Trey Johnson, but with all the mocks, all the new intel coming in, would not be surprised if it's Fears. So it's a pretty small group that I think it will be considered there. Ace would be the real wild card.
What's the final answer? Do we have to come to a consensus here?
I'll go Fierce with the latest info.
I'm outvoted, so it's Fierce.
Is this a consensus operation, a collaborative group?
It's a democracy here. 2 versus 1, I lose.
So left on the
Fierce
board
is at 5.
At pick number 6 for the Washington Wizards, they have their choice of a lot of talented guys, including Ace Bailey. We go at 6 with the Washington
And to
Wizards.
Kyle's point, I think this is then a 2 prospect decision.
Yep.
Ace Bailey, Trey Johnson. I think probably this is where Ace's slide ends.
I think so too. I think this is, while Brooklyn is salivating at the potential of him sliding to 8, is what I believe. I think ultimately Washington just says, we're going to take the big swing here. And I think it makes sense. They're at a spot in their rebuild where take the home run swing. Worst thing that can happen is you continue to stink, just like they have been.
Could be worse mentors at that wing position or at the guard position there with Chris Middleton coming back at least.
Just keep him away from Jordan Poole.
I was going to say, I thought you were going to say.
Although, Jordan Poole, to his credit,
Chris
once
Middleton.
Kyle Kuzma was out of there, more serious basketball player.
Yeah, serious one for sure with Chris Middleton. We'll see how much he can help out there. That leaves Trey Johnson for the New Orleans Pelicans, who also have pick number 23. But do they take Trey Johnson or do they go in another direction?
I sneaky think Malawach is in play here.
Even
I've heard a little bit of, I mean, Messi had a good
really
rookie season,
yeah.
but it's a new front office. I think they're coming in saying we view this group differently. We view the roster differently. So I think Malawach is in play. In fact, I'm saying they're taking Malawach.
Okay.
Based on this.
You know what? I'm going to go Malawach too, just because I don't want this to go
won
chalk.
This time.
I need
Let's
some
go.
chaos.
I'm overruled because I was going to go Trey Johnson.
I think it should be Trey Johnson.
But we'll go with Malawach there for the New Orleans Pelicans at pick number 7.
I'm getting inside the mind of a Troy Weaver and Joe Dumars combo.
They weave their way.
In fairness, I make fun of Troy Weaver. Has been a pretty good drafter, just not a good team builder.
All right, let's go to
probably wouldn't mind that trade back now though. But anyway,
yeah, the Brooklyn Nets now at pick number 8. Trey Johnson on the board.
Yeah,
think we're all going Trey.
Lock it in.
Do not like him there with Cam Thomas trying to take his shots away from
I mean,
him.
then
Send
Cam's
Cam Thomas
go.
to Siberia.
Yeah.
I don't care. I'm not drafting Trey Johnson
I'm
because
just saying,
of Cam Thomas.
I want Trey to get some looks, and Cam Thomas is going to try to take them all. But Trey Johnson it is to the Brooklyn Nets. We'll see him 4 times a year. The Toronto Raptors also 4 times a year. Some talented players there, front court players in particular, whether they go Derek Bodner.
I think they go Noah Sengun.
I actually agree with you. That's
There we
where my
go.
head was at too.
We'll stick it there. Noah
That just
Sengun.
like that kind of defensive versatility just screams Masai pick.
And they're still not winning.
Huge toolsy guy, has been productive in a not a great league, but at least a good league.
Not
overseas.
over the last week, but
Yeah,
a
well,
little bit.
That's okay. That's all right.
We're not drafting him.
No, and I still like him. You like, yeah.
Noah Sengun there to the Toronto Raptors at 9. Phoenix now on the clock after the Kevin Durant trade with the Houston Rockets. They get the pick back. Phoenix Suns at number 10, Kyle Neubeck.
Okay.
The
I think they should pick.
The one place they can't go is shooting guard because that's the only thing they have right now.
I have
Who
one
I think
in
they
mind.
should pick is my absolute guy, Colin Murray Boyles. Who I think they will pick is Derek Queen. They're going to go all in on offense and give up 1 billion points a game.
Interesting. I wasn't going Queen.
Who are you going?
Of course, you think about the hometown guy, but I even went away from him and I went with Yakuchonis.
Interesting.
To actually have a point guard on the roster. Now, they can go do that in the offseason and add a veteran point guard, but I went with Yakuchonis.
So what happens if we select 3? Like
then we
each have a
just
different
need to
pick?
come to a
Listen.
consensus.
All right, then I'm going to go with Queen just to end this.
Okay.
All right. Who are you going to go with?
I probably would have gone CMB.
Okay. All right. Let's go with
They
Queen.
badly need somebody who cares about defense over there.
Nick Richards is their only defensive. Well, Dunn is also Ryan Dunn is also there. So
It's
those
good though
two.
because I think we might have well, maybe not a consensus, but I think we might have a majority here on this one.
Yeah, it's a good
Blazers
conversation
at
for
11.
them at pick number 10. So 11, the Portland Trailblazers.
Who do you
I
got?
think they should go CMB.
Oh, I wasn't actually thinking about that because Jeremy Grant. That's a little bit of weird.
Yeah, but I think at this point you're
and
looking
also
at the post-Grant era.
Klingon
Yeah,
and
no,
CMB
that's
is
fair.
kind of.
That's fair. That's
Carter
fair.
Bryant's still on the board.
Yeah, Carter
I
Bryant.
kind of like Yakachonis for them. I don't know that they would take him. I think honestly, maybe Carter Bryant. He's just like the easiest, like no doubt player there. They do tend to like those, big athletic wing types.
Kamara.
Just add another one.
Yeah.
I think
That's fair. All right,
Yakachonis should be in the mix there for sure.
I'll change my vote to Carter.
Carter Bryant. All right, Chicago on the clock now. No Derek Queen available anymore. So is this where Yakuchonis comes off the board?
I don't think so.
I think they could use another multi-positional defensive forward. I think they're another team that could use that archetype.
Who are you going with?
I think this would be a good CMB spot.
This is the scene.
I just don't think he's their type of guy.
He might not be.
But he's the best player on the board.
With no Queen.
Actually, I think I have Yakachonis ahead of him, but
I'm
Same
really
team.
struggling with this one based on who we actually picked ahead of.
Queen threw things off. Taking
I
him at
shouldn't
10.
have done that. I should have just let us send.
could they be
Queen is the most obvious.
could they be a
Bulls
Behringer
pick.
guy?
They could.
Chicago? Vucevic out?
Yeah, let's give him the French guy.
Behringer it is at pick 12 for the Chicago Bulls. 2 more picks to go in the lottery. We go to the Sacramento Kings, headed to Atlanta. So the Atlanta Hawks are on the clock right now. CMB still available right now. Do we go? Or Yakachonis, maybe?
I don't know. You compare Yakachonis.
These are the 2 guys.
I think
that are still
Sorber
available.
would be in play here. I think based on if you're still building around Trey, I think Newell would be in play here, even though I think he's lower on most big boards.
Could Coward be in play here?
Coward could be in play. I mean, I think it's good value based on how I look at him. Sure.
Atlanta.
They really want a big. I think if we were doing a real mock,
Sorber would be.
I think they would trade up. I think they're a trade up and try to get a Malo.
I wouldn't mind going a big here because I think Coward would be real nice.
Well, maybe we shouldn't have taken Behringer at 12. And
a lot of Kongwo disrespect going on here for the Atlanta Hawks.
CMB. No, I don't want to give them CMB. Let's say Cedric Coward. Cedric Coward to Atlanta.
Okay.
So more wings. Another wing for them.
You can never have too many wings.
You can't. You can't. But that's a pretty crowded room there. But talented
Brian Pumper
player.
just had a heart attack.
Yeah, he did. All right, final one in the lottery. The Atlanta Hawks moved on now to the San Antonio Spurs, and the Spurs are taken. Is this a CMB spot?
It's got to be.
Finally, CMB?
Yeah, we'll go see him.
All right, we go Colin Murray Boyles to the
Really,
San Antonio
really good
Spurs.
fit there, too. I think that's the right spot.
Yeah, so Colin Murray Boyles wraps up the lottery to the San Antonio Spurs, and that's what you have. The one that threw things off, Derek Queen at 10 to the Phoenix Suns, who are back in the lottery after the trade with the Houston Rockets. Derek Queen.
It'll actually be Jace Richardson because he went to Michigan State, by the way.
Correct. Good call by you. So that is our final mock draft here on the PHLY Sixers podcast. Sixers at 3 with VJ Edgecombe. No surprise there. Some other movement there in the lottery for some other teams based on the latest intel. Should be a fun draft overall on Wednesday night. Our PHLY Sixers mock draft right here, presented by Rothman Orthopedics. Make sure you head out to rothmanortho.com/PHLY to make your appointment today if needed. And we'll see you on Wednesday for our PHLY draft special, right there at the Boozy Mutt.